Good evening, friends. Welcome to another fine episode of the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight, we're going to take a lovely jaunt down Fat Boy Lane. Not really. Actually, we are going to do some weighing. So, on a serious note, I want to take some time to thank...
In this show?
What you say?
I said on this show, serious?
Maybe.
The way we tear at each other?
Got to take time to thank Sean and everybody over at Firearms Radio Network for giving us a place to host this show. Got to take time to thank Jake and Ryan over at Patriot Patch Company for being the bandwidth sponsor of this program. And that Target guy. Oh. Who is he? I heard a rumor. I heard he's out in Idaho. So there's a rumor he's got steel. Oh, that guy. Oh, look, magnets. Buckeye Targets. BuckeyeTargets.com. Seriously, though, go check out BuckeyeTargets.com. Stop by, say hi to Travis. Great stuff. Great steel, great paper. Yes, that's right. Steel and paper. Got a really nice dueling tree that Carl and Stan are just drooling over. Yes, that Carl and Stan. They've got a new podcast, SX3, with Stephanie, who's the owner of SX3 Firearms. So, but they just love the new dueling tree. It's so much lighter than everything else out on the market. They're working on redoing a couple other things. They've got quite a few sweet things. They've got a really nice popper that's just loads of fun for an afternoon at the range. Check them out.
I didn't get a magnet from Travis.
That's because you suck.
Travis, I want a magnet and attach it to a dueling tree and send it to me.
After you send him the $150, you probably would.
Yep, I'm sure you would.
So, but seriously, just want to take time to thank Travis. He is the preferred target supplier of Reloading Podcast. Preferred target supplier. Well, what that means is not only does he send us stuff like the one I just held up, which is actually IDPA or IPSC, I can't remember. But basically what it is it goes on a nice 2x4, and then it's got this sweet stand, which sets up real easy. 2 bolts, done. 1 bolt on the upper. Grab a 2x4 of your favorite length to adjust the height, and away you go. Set up, easy tear down, and it takes a pounding. So, but lots of other stuff. They've got gongs. They've got all sorts of different things. So check them out. That would be BuckeyeTargets.com. And because we're so dang special, we got 2 promo codes. We have RLP10 and Reloading Podcast. Reloading, actually, sorry. And that'll get you 10% off at BuckeyeTargets.com. Hey, you know what?
What?
Oh, that took forever.
We'll do it again. Do it again, Mikey. Do it again.
Anybody who's ever been to a Tommy Bartlett water show in the Dells, you like it? I do it again. You know what? Looked at my watch, and I think it's beer 30. You think it's beer 30, Jason?
I think it's gin 30.
That's right. You're having gin. You like Pine Sol.
Mike has to walk all the way over to his refrigerator to grab that bottle of beer.
I believe no steps were taken in the retrieval of this beer, so that means I've done it properly. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
Tonight's brew is Smittix Red Ale. Picked up a usual 6-pack I do for St. Patty's Day, and still got one left, so enjoying that. Made by the same brewery that brews Guinness. Kind of a tradition that I've had for, I don't know, 20, 25 years now. So anyway, it's good stuff, especially if you like ales. Now, so last week we talked about brass prep. Close that out. We're not talking about brass prep anymore. We're done. All right. Unless somebody asks a question, then we will. So we got the brass ready now. What's next?
You have to see primers in your brass.
Yep. How can we do that?
Well, you might pick up one of those brass priming tools I know you have.
Brass priming tools.
Handheld brass primer seating tool.
Oh, like this one right here?
Exactly. The Lee Auto Prime XR.
So, actually, I don't know where the rest of it is. So I guess I can't show you how to prime. So, anyway.
I share your pain.
Yeah, it's around here somewhere. I was using it to prime up the 257 Weatherby brass, and I don't know where I put it. So, but anyway, for the Lee, you need shell holders.
Those are special shell holders, folks. They don't snap into your RCBS press like a regular shell holder does.
They're flat on the bottom. See?
Right.
So, Jim, what are the keys to priming properly?
Consistency.
Okay. What do you mean?
Well, you have to seat the primer. You have to have a clean primer pocket. And if you're get really long in the hair like Jeremy does, you have to have a nice square primer pocket bottom. And you also, of course, you need to have your brass is all prepped. So I'm not going to get into primer pockets waging, but you have to be able to seat your primers in that pocket, which incorporates removing the crimp. But that's all part of brass prep. We don't want to talk about that anymore. But anyway, consistency and depth of seating. That's primarily what I'm trying to get at, Mikey.
So when you're talking about depth of seating, you're talking about how far in you push that primer, right?
Right. We don't just make them flush.
Okay. Why not?
Well, because for one thing, you probably won't be seated on the bottom of the primer pocket, and you probably won't be stressing the priming pellet inside that fresh, nice primer that you're trying to seat. What I'm saying is that anvil in that primer that you just seated is pressing against the bottom of should be pressing against the bottom of the primer pocket. If it does, it'll apply the slightest little bit of stress to that impact sensitive compound. They were using fulminated mercury years ago, even before I was born. So don't go there, Jason. And then they developed something called lead stiphanate, and that's the primarily what's used now. But as I understand it, some of the ammunition manufacturing companies are trying to go green with the priming compound, and they're trying to use lead-free priming compounds, which is under development or whatever. I don't know. I'm not that close to the cutting edge of primer manufacturing. But anyway, so the point is, you want your anvil resting against the primer pocket bottom. Reason is to put a little pressure into that pellet so that when your firing pin smacks the bottom of that primer, snap goes the primer.
All right.
Is that sufficiently clear, like mud?
A little clearer than mud. Maybe like some good old.
I'm sorry I didn't hear you.
I said a little better than mud. More like a little bit of swamp water. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So now we've primed our. Do we have to prime them by hand?
No.
What else?
When I reload on my 550, I have to prime them. Pretty much have to prime them on the 550. I know I don't have to. I know that, but the point is, it's almost automatic.
So what you're saying is, if I'm using like a essentially like the 550s, kind of, it's a manually indexing progressive.
You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was talking about my Dillon 550 semi-auto, semi-progressive press. And I was reloading. Actually, what Mike's trying to get me to say is, yes, you can use your reloading press to seat primers.
What about a single stage?
Absolutely.
Okay. What about a super duper top of the line, fancy, professional reloading machine? Like, say, a Dillon 1050 with an auto drive.
Yeah, they seat primers.
All right. Now, if you're loading pistol ammo, do you ever seat primers by hand?
I used to, yeah. Generally anymore, no.
Say you're using if you're using your 550 or,
If I'm using something like my Forster Coax, yes, I could see primers on the Forster Coax, but no, I generally use my Lee Auto Prime XR.
Okay.
I actually have two of those, one for large primers, one for small primers. When I bought them, the price was so outstanding, I just couldn't pass up buying both.
Mm-hmm. So why would you want to prime on your single stage press?
Well, remember, a lot of people are just getting started and they don't have any other way of seating primers. So they have to use what they have to use what they own, what they bought. So that's thereby that means they have to use a reloading press to seat primers.
Okay.
To my way of thinking, to your way of thinking, Mike, I know we're playing devil's advocate here, but priming by hand is far superior than priming in any press because you can get a better feel for the primer. You could feel that primer actually getting stressed. You could feel the anvil pressing against the bottom, stretching that priming pellet.
All right. So we're done priming. What are we going to do now?
It's time to fill them up.
What do we fill them with? Gas?
Jason, what do we fill empty brass with?
Well, first we purge them with nitrogen, and then we pour a little gas on some black powder, and then we top the case off, and then we cram a bullet on top of that.
Do we halfway full or all the way forward?
All the way full. Scrape it off with a credit card. Tippy top. Is that what you're looking for? Oh, you didn't want that.
You dog, Jason. Well, if you're going to use gasoline, you need to at least use 95 octane aviation fuel. No, it's 102 octane. You got to have aviation fuel. You got to go top of the line.
You bet. Race gas, maybe.
Ooh, it may be even a little bit of nitromethane. What do you think?
Hey, why not? It's only pressure.
It's your gun, not mine. It's yours. Tell me straight, Jason. What do you fill primed brass with?
Powder.
Black powder, smokeless powder.
I would choose smokeless, but you could go black powder.
That's a fact. 38 Special was a cartridge that actually, when it was first created, was a black powder cartridge.
A lot of the cartridges started out as black powder.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you use before black powder came along, Jim?
Pyrodex.
Gun cotton?
Yeah, nitrocellulose. Nice try, Jason, but it ain't working tonight, buddy.
I think they used amber.
Oh, now that's really getting low. Calling me older than Amber. Well, Amber's only 19.
Million.
So it's like, that's my granddaughter. Leave her alone.
Not that amber, you silly.
Oh, excuse me.
Stuff they made
I didn't know that.
Alice with, and the stuff that you find bugs in all the time. Aha! So, yeah, we want to put powder in our case. So, I already showed everybody the types of powder. We've got ball, extruded.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty basic. Now, if you want, you can dive into the deep end of all the different types of extruded, because there is a crap ton of different gimmicks they've tried over the years. Instead of just the regular stick that looks like your pencil lead, they've tried making it star-shaped, and they've tried hollowing it out, and they've tried hollowing it out with different shapes, and they've tried making it in triangles. And I mean, you could go on and on and on and on about the different shapes they've tried to make the stuff in.
Alcan used to take and make it bow tie shaped.
Why did they do all that, Jim?
Because to actually reshape the powder kernels actually affects the burning rate of the material as it goes off in your gun.
Aha! Why do we have different burning rates?
Well, usually because we don't want the different pressures. A rifle could take a lot more pressure, generally speaking, than a handgun can.
Why do we have different pressures?
Different calibers.
Handgun case, shotgun shell. Are they all the same pressures? Are they even?
Hell no. Well, pressure, like Jason said, even when we were joking, pressure is pressure. That doesn't change, but the amount of pressure varies drastically.
Exactly. And what happens when you put too much pressure in one of those lovely little vessels?
Kaboom. Usually that involves surgery, plastic surgery, and hospital bills and doctor visits and all that kind of thing. Or at least a damaged gun.
Mm-hmm. So what do we need to do to make sure that we don't blow up the cartridge, and we don't blow up the gun, we don't blow up our hand, we don't blow up our head?
Well, it stands to reason. It's tough for us more experienced reloaders because we know innately what we're doing. Well, yeah, sometimes. What I'm saying is you can't put a 38 Special cartridge in a 35 Whelen rifle just because the two bullets are exactly the same diameter.
Why not?
You have to know the caliber. You have to know the caliber of what you're shooting. 30-06, 308, same diameter, but different caliber. 223, 222, 222 Remington Magnum. They're all 223 Remington, 222 Remington, 222 Remington Magnum. They're all different calibers, but they all take the same bullet. Different pressures, different case lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Codra's got a novel idea, something about read the manual. Do you know what that is?
What's a manual? What's this?
I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't realize you were trying to get me to use good sense.
what he's talking about?
Exactly.
We do this.
The recipe book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what most people view it as. Is nothing more than a recipe book.
Can I use this one for pistol?
No.
Why not?
No.
Because it says shot shell.
Oh, so I have to use it for shot shell. Okay. How about this one? Can I use this one?
You can certainly use it, but you're going to use it for reloading metallic cartridges.
All right.
Whether it's handgun or a long gun.
Well, so I opened this book up, and I'm looking at
You held up a handgun cartridge a while ago, Michael.
Yeah.
What caliber is it?
That was 9mm.
How do you know that?
Because I loaded it and threw it there.
I realize that, Mike. I'm saying is, what are you doing? You're reading a head stamp.
If you look,
I see an empty primer pocket.
this is what you call a dummy cartridge, kids.
Yep. But anyway, it's not picking up the lettering. But anyway, that's how Mike did it for us right away. He picks up the cartridge and he reads the head stamp on it. It said 9mm and 9mm. It could probably say 9mm, 9mm Parabellum, 9mm Luger.
Yep. What if it says 9x21? Is that something I can use in my Glock 17?
You just caught me on one, Mike. I don't know the actual length of a 9mm cartridge. I think it's 9x19. If it is 9x19, then that would be a longer case, which wouldn't fit in your Glock 17.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't try to keep details like that in my memories.
Or actually, we'll go with one that most everybody should know. How about a 9x18? Can I use that in my Glock 17?
Isn't that the 9mm Largo? It's a tad bit short, is what I'm trying to say, about 40,000 short.
That would be the Makarov cartridge.
Okay.
So, and Mark says 9x21 is for making major power factor in USPSA. It's a custom load, just like 9x25 is.
Hey guys, you know what we did? We forgot.
What?
What did we do this week in firearms?
Oh yeah.
Damn it, Mike! You screwed up again.
Actually, I was doing it on purpose because somebody was trying to brag, so I figured we'd just skip it this week. Wouldn't want to ruin his streak. What you been doing? Firearms reload.
I got a gun.
Oh no!
You're pointing it at the camera.
And look,
it's
what
loaded.
Is that on top, Michael?
That is the California Special.
Right. That's a lawyer's device.
Also known as a loaded chamber.
That's exactly right. I handled a gun.
I'm surprised you remember what they are. Yay, I'm number one.
And the horse you rode in on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyway.
Glad you answered that, Jason.
Well, actually, I worked a few hours overtime last week to put gun money away. That's about as close as I can honestly say, except for handling this gun. Last week I did show. Believe it or not, I had a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old little girls actually handling that gun in the presence of their grandparents. The gun was empty. The gun was made safe. I had removed the magazine and unloaded the magazine. but the children were actually allowed to handle the gun and point it, not allowed to pull the trigger, but they were actually allowed to actually point and aim at a spot on the wall. So I did a little bit of firearms instruction last week.
Excellent.
So you took them, unloaded the magazine, but did you take the one out of the chamber?
Well, no, it wouldn't pop up like this if it did.
I wanted to have a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. You bum, Jason. You know I know better than that.
That was for the people that don't know any better.
Exactly. We're good at playing devil's advocate. I'm going to readjust my camera, or my iPad rather, and I'm going to show you folks that, yeah, it's still loaded right there. And the gun's safe. Have to take it off safe. First thing you do is remove the magazine. And yes, there's ammo in it. Factory ammo.
You're completely off camera, Jim.
Sorry. And guess what I got pulled out of the chamber? A Federal HydroShock. I do believe in using good ammo. I don't know if this will go through or not, but
yeah, kind of.
Yep.
And the gun is clear. You can even see through it. Ooh, I got to see Jason through that. Anyway, yeah, folks, I know how to handle a gun. Yes, that's one thing I will say, though, about shooting bullseye that I used to shoot religiously. It is a perishable skill. Somebody wrote that today, and I thought, boy, what a profound statement that is.
Mm-hmm.
You ever shot formal bullseye, Jason?
I have not.
It's tough. It's tough. But anyway, so what'd you do this week in guns, Jason? Guns
I can see where it'd be tough for you with the palsy shaking.
Well, you know, I was trying to stuff that last round into the magazine, so that when I get up, when the show's over and I reload the gun, hey, that's a play on words. We're talking about reloading, and I'm going to reload my gun. Huh? Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, Jason, over to you, buddy. What'd you do?
Well, I had plans to go to the desert last Saturday to shoot long range, but a storm came through and we had to cancel. And I have been doing a little bit of brass prep, which...
Nice pockets. What are you doing? Taking the metal out?
Yeah, that's I was primer pocket uniforming.
Okay.
And this one was exceptionally in bad condition. So it took all the metal out of the bottom, or all the carbon out of the bottom instead of just a little bit.
Jason, do yourself a favor and check the web on that. Compare the overall length, measure the depth with your skinny end of your digital calipers down to the primer, down to the flash hole, and then go through the other way and see. What I'm saying is you need to know if it'll fit. But what I'm getting at, Jason, later on, check your specs in your book. Make sure that case is not too thin in the web, okay? For your safety.
Why do you think it could possibly be thin in the web? Because I took the metal out?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just a matter of concern for a friend, that's all.
Yep. So I set that one aside because it took some work to get that one uniformed.
Good. I would actually mark it with a Sharpie, you know, check OAL or check the web. Folks, what we're talking about is the thickness of the head of the case. Around the primer itself, it's solid brass, but what Jason has done, he may have removed a bit of metal out of the bottom of the primer pocket, like we were talking about earlier when we were talking about scraping the carbon out. But he may have removed a little bit more than just the carbon. And I'm just begging him, please, 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 whatever he does for his own safety and the safety of his firearm, and just for peace of mind, my peace of mind, make sure that that case is still within specification.
I was checking the inside of my flash hole on these Hornady. What are these called? American Gunner. It's their bulk ammo, and they're not punched. They're drilled. They look pretty clean.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Are there any burrs? Are there any burrs in there?
I didn't see any burrs. I go ahead and I run it on my flash hole uniformer just to be sure, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Have you deburred the flash hole on the inside of the case?
Yep. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, I got my recipe in mind that I'm going to go with. So I'm going to start loading.
Have you been able to find that load in published data?
No.
Okay, then I won't ask you what it is while we're on the air.
Okay. It's what I worked up off of my quick loads program.
Good deal. But, good deal.
So hopefully next weekend I'll get some time to actually get some loads made up, and next weekend I could take it out and test it and see what's what. Jim, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir. Anything.
So on my case neck, I have anywhere between 14 thousandths and 15.5 thousandths for the case
wall thick on each side.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I go buy one of Robin's fancy dancy bushing dies, which number do I use?
Have you turned your case necks?
No, I haven't.
Are you going to turn your case necks?
I might. It depends on what you tell me.
Well, Jason, standard dimension, nominal dimension, and SAAMI specs. SAAMI, S-A-A-M-I, Sporting Arms Association and Manufacturing Institute. Okay, generally they list a set of specifications as to what nominal case neck thickness should be, and it's usually about 10 thousandths on each side of the bullet. When you hear me talking about 15 thousandths, 12 thousandths on a side, I'm talking about the thickness of the brass on the top of the case and at the bottom of the case neck, as opposed to each side of the bullet. I'm talking about the bullet's diameter. Okay, so Jason's asked a question. He's got brass that varies from 14.5 thousandths to 15.5 thousandths thick. Now, my answer to Jason is, if I were Jason, I would consider trimming that brass, turning those necks down to about 14.5 thousandths. That way he doesn't have a lot of metal to remove. Secondly, what he'll do is he'll wind up chewing up his cases better, because the pilot will work off the inside of the case neck so that when he turns the case neck with his case neck turning tool, it'll be more concentric with the axis of the case neck and the body of the cartridge. So Jason, what I'm telling you is, would you be so kind as, I don't have anything with me to write with, would you take and get a piece of paper and maybe a felt tip pen and write these numbers down like I did in the RLP host group? Okay, so we're going to take in, I'm going to assume it's for Jason's 308, his AR-10 or something of that nature. Maybe his bench rest rifle, his competition, 40X. Remington 40X. Anyway, bullet diameter is supposed to be 0.308. Case neck thickness would be 0.0145 on the left side of the case, on the left side of the bullet, and on the right side of the bullet. So, Jason, add that up, if you would, 14.5 plus 14.5 thousandths, plus the 308. And I want you to hold that up in front of the camera when you get your math done.
Holy crap, dude. You want the world to see this, huh?
Yeah, I want the world to see whether or not you make a mistake. Actually, it's real simple, folks. Add 30 thousandths to 308 thousandths. You got 338, subtract 1 because we're talking 29 thousandths. So it should be 337 thousandths.
Okay.
And hold it up in front of the camera so we could see how I'm thinking, Jason.
I didn't do it. You said it before I wrote it down. So I didn't.
Oh, come on. Come on, you bum. Let us see your fancy handwriting.
What'd you say the number was?
$308 thousandths. Yay!
Can you read that?
Well, actually, where'd you get the 29 from?
14.5 and 14.5.
That's right. That should be the bushing diameter. You got to subtract 1 from that, Jason.
So,
You've got to subtract 1 from that.
Wrong,
so to give you
337. So
right.
My 1 thousandths minus would be 0.336.
And that 1 thousandths is for what?
For neck tension.
Say again, I didn't hear you.
For neck tension.
Thank you, sir.
But Robin actually recommended 2 thousandths, which I think
on each side.
I prefer 1 thousandths, but
well, that's something that you can determine with a bushing die, and you can get to change the insert. Those inserts are for sale. If you would prefer to 1 thousandths over, but you find out your rifle likes 2 thousandths over, you can buy that 2 thousandths bushing and not have to buy the whole damn die set.
Mm-hmm.
Those are titanium nitride coated bushings. They look like gold, and the way they're priced are just about like gold too.
They're priced like gold. Yeah. They actually have a steel version too, Jim. It's a few bucks cheaper.
Yes, sir. I'm just talking about the titanium nitride coating material itself. It's quite expensive.
Yeah. Okay, so walk me through the process, Jim. I bought factory ammo, and I went out and shot it. So now I have these once fired cases through my rifle. I've got my bushing die, and I've got my neck trimmer. What do I do?
Well, Jason, you did a good thing in a way because you've got 20, maybe 40 cases. I'm asking.
Yeah, I got like 100.
Okay, so you bought 5 boxes of factory ammo, and yet was it all the same batch lot number? Do you know that?
Yes.
Very good, very good. So we know that ammo came out of the same batch. We can't say it was made consecutively, but we know it still came out of the same batch. So it's a pretty good bet the cases are all pretty much the same. If you wanted to play Jeremy, you would go and take a time and plug the primer pockets and weigh the case capacity in water. If you wanted to do that. Right. It's a serious nuisance, isn't it? It's tedious. Yes, it is. but it works. But anyway, the thing is, then from there, what you're going to do is that you're going to take and treat that brass just like any other brass. You're going to prep it. You're going to clean it, tumble it, polish it, clean out, deprime it, clean primer pockets, deburr flash holes, inside, outside, whatever. The point is you could do everything except resize it. Now, with this case neck bushing sizing system, now you've determined that you want a 337 bushing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
because you want that to be 1/1000th undersized, just so it'll get a good, secure grip on the bullet.
Right.
And that's what you use to resize the neck of the cartridge, of the 308 cartridges that we're talking about. I'm assuming this is for your 40X.
It's for my 6.5, but it's fine.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, the principle's still exactly the same as far as determining the bushing that you want or all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So,
and you're just resizing the neck, basically, is all you're doing.
Yep. So I'm going to use the bushing die to resize my neck, and then I'm going to trim it. I mean, I'm going to turn the neck after that.
Oh, no. You turn your necks before you resize.
So I turn the necks fired?
Yes, as fired, right? You know, you're not going to resize it. You turn your necks before you resize. The reason is, Jason, because your brass will shrink down because of the bushing, remember?
Yes.
It probably won't fit on the pilot.
It fits on the pilot after it's sized, but what I found out was firing it, it's sloppy on the pilot, and I'm introducing more what am I trying to say? More inconsistencies into the case or the neck wall thickness with that sloppy pilot. So,
okay,
maybe I think
there's two ways
as is, as opposed to trying to fix that. If I'm just going to screw them up worse.
Well, Jason, there's another possibility. There's two ways of fixing that problem. Number one, I think you've hit upon the best way to fix it, and that would be resize it before you turn it. The second way would be to get a little bit larger pilot. What kind of trimmer do you have?
The RCBS.
Okay, well, I'm sure RCBS sells oversized pilots.
Okay. That's a good idea I did not think of.
Yeah, you want to take it for your what is your bull diameter? 264. If your case comes up after fired at about 268, well, you could ask or tell RCBS you're going to turn your necks and you want an oversized pilot to fit your case. And your cases generally come up about 269, 268. I'm sorry, 0.268, 0.269, and that's incremental inch measurements. That's all.
Mm-hmm. You could make me one of those, couldn't
you? I could. But, you know, my new employer might take a dim view to me doing things like that while he's paying me.
That's all right. It's just
I'll tell him you said it was okay, right?
Exactly.
They don't make they make a 26 and a 27. They don't make a 264. So.
Well, really? The thing is, that pilot would probably be the one Jason got with his trimmer is probably a trimming pilot, not a turning pilot. If Jason were to call the custom shop, I'm sure they would be glad to accommodate him. You know, talk to customer service.
Okay.
I'm sure they have something to take care of folks like us.
All right.
In my case, I would call Bob Ruck out in Illinois. I forget the name of the city the Forster Products is in, but it would do the same thing.
Mike, they sell one for 6.5.
Okay.
Is that what you were? I kind of lost track of where we're going with that. Oh, for oversized.
Right, for oversized, Jason. Because remember, your case neck diameter is probably about 268, 269 after being fired.
Okay.
You know, you got to determine what that is, and then that's what you tell RCBS.
Okay.
Do you have small hole gauges, or do you use calipers?
The neck, though, Jason. On RCBS.
I'm sorry. What was that now?
On the RCBS, the neck reamer, that's for the inside. I don't see one for the outside, but maybe I'm just not looking in the right spot.
For the
RCBS trimmer, you can turn necks on a trimmer?
Yeah. They have a attachment.
Special head. Okay.
Yep,
special
exactly.
cutting head.
And then it takes a different pilot.
Right. Well, you'll find that the pilot for the trimmer is going to have a different size shank than the pilot for the turning head, for the neck turning head. But anyway, the point is, since they're doing that, I'm sure they're going to accommodate folks that need that slightly oversized case or a slightly oversized pilot.
Okay.
I can't say for the product specifically because haven't talked to RCBS very much at all. I went with the Forster trimmer system, and I'm really glad I did. But anyway, the point is, call customer service at RCBS. Someone will be able to help you, I'm sure.
All right.
So what else you doing guns reloading this week, Jason?
That would be it, I believe.
Over to you, Michael.
Played a little bit around with some of the reloading stuff I got here. Just kind of doing some organizing more than anything. Took the boys trap shooting again on Sunday, so.
Hey, that's important.
So, and got a starter scope for the 6.5 project. So, that'll get me out to 200 yards.
What scope was that, Mike? I didn't see it.
Vortex Crossfire 2. 4 to 12 by 44. So it's a starter scope. It's not going to get me out to long distance, but it'll be good out to 400.
Do you mind my asking the cost on those?
I did not pay retail for it. So I did not pay anywhere close to retail for it.
Did you buy it new?
Nope. Bought it from a friend who had it sitting around collecting it.
Okay.
There you go.
That's what Jason wanted to know.
All right.
So that's why it's going on the 6.5, because it'll do what I needed to do for now. And it was in the correct price range that I needed for now to be able to get it going. And I really want to shoot that thing and not just let it sit and collect dust. Now I'm trying to debate on whether I want to buy brass and load cases or if I want to buy some factory stuff and unload it. So that's what I'm trying to decide right now. So
I suggest you buy some factory like Jason did. Buy 5 boxes or thereabouts of the same batch lot number. But the point is, it'll help you familiarize yourself with what factory ammo is going to do in your rifle. It'll help you familiarize yourself with the rifle's behavior while you're shooting it. It will also give you 100 fire-formed cases.
True.
I went the other way with my 280 a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. I bought 2 bags of 50 of the same batch number of 280 Remington brass. And I wish now I'd have bought the 280 Remington ammo. I would have had the same benefits.
What's that, Jim?
Pardon me for clearing my throat. I said I would have had the same benefits if I'd have I just told you. My knowledge is coming from my own hindsight. I wish now, instead of reloading my first 100 rounds of brass, I wish now I'd have bought 5 boxes of factory ammo.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite dear. I mean, you're talking $40, $40 a box, $2 a round. But you don't have. I don't have the knowledge of firing 280 Remington ammunition in my rifle. Not that there's anything wrong, nothing special, but I took the cheap way out.
But with your circumstance, because it's not factory cartridge, would it really make a difference? Because you're going to get a performance than you would have anyway, because your brass is expanding a massive amount compared to a normal cartridge.
Well, remember, it's a 280 Ackley improved.
Right.
Okay, but the case neck shoulder intersection is exactly the same as Remington factory ammunition in a 280 Remington caliber. What I'm saying is that intersection of the neck and shoulder allows the rifle to headspace factory ammo.
Right. However, that shoulder is at a different angle in the Ackley.
Oh yeah.
Factory ammo, so it's not going to be the same expansion as if it was a regular 280 Remington. So wouldn't that change the performance a bit?
In my case, yes, I guess you're right. I didn't think about that when I was saying that. But the other thing is, too, it is a known fact that the 280 AI chambers cause 280 Remington ammo to fire, or the bullets slow down because there just isn't as much pressure. You were exactly right. What you were alluding to is exactly correct. The 280 AI chambers fire 280 Remington ammo, but it fires it at a lower velocity.
Because all of a sudden your pressure is a lot lower.
Right, because I have blown out shoulders.
Yep.
And it is quite noticeable if you guys are. It's been a while. I don't even have any photos of it anymore, but it is quite noticeable if you folks look up the Ackley improved shoulders. The angle is more steep at the intersection of the body and the shoulder, and the diameter of the body is quite a bit more at the same intersection of the neck and body. It's not quite a straight wall case. The cases aren't quite straight, but they're not far from it. I think something like 5 to 7 thousandths taper in diameter from head to shoulder.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. So you're talking, all of a sudden you've suddenly created more room.
Exactly, which is why the cartridge takes more powder.
Right. So it'd be interesting to see what the pressure drop would be on that if you could measure that somehow.
Well, the only way you would be able to measure it would be bullet velocity. Oh, I know what you're talking about, where they actually put the piezoelectric stress measuring device. They can epoxy it onto the chamber. Yeah. Oh boy, you really got me into the long hair stuff now.
That'd be interesting to see, though, because it's. I'm sure the initial pressure would be a jump, and then all of a sudden, it blows the shoulder out, and it probably drops like a rock.
Mm-hmm. Well, figuratively speaking, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking pressures in probably the 50 to 60,000 psi range, and talking when it blows that shoulder out. My guess, and this is a wild ass guess. This doesn't mean I know squat. I didn't study anything, but my guess is you probably lose almost 10,000 psi.
I can't say, and I don't. I know where you're going. I can't say you're right, or I don't think it would be quite so much. But what would be tangible is to take and get a box of 20, fire them, and then get a box of my reloads and fire those, the 280 AI reloads, and to see the difference in velocity. That is more tangible.
Yeah. Providing your reloads are somewhat equivalent I don't know, the case capacity. I don't know if you'd be able to really. I don't know if you'd really be able to scientifically do that unless you knew what powder was in the factory ammo, and you knew.
Well, the only thing you can measure in our case would be with a chronograph is this bullet speed.
Yeah. So I don't know if that'd really tell you much or not without being able to eliminate the other variables.
Yeah, there's no way to extrapolate the exact pressures.
Right. Well, I'm sure if we had unlimited funds, there would be, but it'd be pointless to do so. Anyway.
Well, damn, we were seating primers and charging cases, or we're getting ready to charge cases. We really got into some sidebars.
Yeah, we did. So I guess we'll have to do charging cases next week, which is actually good because then what I'll do is instead of just having this lovely RCBS 505 scale that I've got sitting here, I'll run some other stuff, and we'll kind of crawl deep into the powder measuring.
Hey. Why is there a rubber band around your scale?
That's the way it came in the box. Because when I got it, it was like this.
It was assembled?
Nope.
Oh, he's taking it apart. Powder pan. Yep. Oh, my God.
Yep. When I pulled it out of the kit box, it was sitting like this.
Oh, my God. You bought it new?
No. Used. This is that Rock Chucker kit that it never had been really used. The guy bought it and then realized he didn't want to reload. So I got it for a steal.
Okay. Check for damage, Mike. That's the first thing I would say. Check the contact, the swivel points, the knife edges, all that sort of thing. Make sure everything's good and sharp. We could talk you through zeroing it out right now, Mike, if you want to be sure that the case or the
next
scale
week
is okay. Okay.
We'll do that next week because that's going to be an important part of this.
Okay. Well, folks, what those things that Mike is, that little silver thing on the black beam, Mike, put your finger on the upper part of the beam. Right. Okay. Those are called poises. P-O-I-S-E. Poise. That's for tenths. The middle one is that's for tenths. That's for single grains, whole grains. And the last one is for tens of grains. And what Mike is actually doing, without really trying to, you notice the scale is swinging a little bit. He's nearly got it zeroed.
Yep. So there's different ways to do that and different things you can do and different tricks and stuff. But, we should go into that because I don't think we've ever really gone deep into scales.
That's a good idea. That's
a
good idea.
Very important thing. So, but for now.
By the way, who else in the chat room?
So in the chat room we have Jerry DM, Josh Costner, SH586SW, Rex of Rex's blog, Mark 1070, Mark Kodra, Nick Shipper, Mark, let's see here, Jim Mada, Johnny Mac, and latecomer Tony Sirocco. So,
is that Hookem in there anywhere?
No Hookem.
He's a slacker.
He is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
He's been out of the chat room for a couple weeks now. Yeah. Wussy boy.
Well, and he's been working at the range on Tuesday night, so.
You were saying, Jason?
He can't hang with the big dogs.
I got a feeling Mr. Hookem is one of us big dogs.
Yeah. I think
big old boy.
So Tony,
have you ever met him, Mike? Mike, have you ever met Mark Hookem?
Not in person.
You need to rectify that, buddy.
Yep, that's on the goal for this summer. He gets together with a few friends about 4 hours north of here and does some ammo unloading. So I've got an open invitation for the boys in Ed Hat there. So now with my new schedule, we should be able to make it.
Oh, good.
Good.
Tony Sirocco asked if I had the dies. He'd like to see what I was talking about. So, Tony, this is the bushing.
That's for your your 6.5?
Correct. I don't know exactly what you want to see about it, Tony, but that was the bushing.
Okay, Jason, is that thing sharp and square on both ends?
It is.
The bore of it?
Yep.
It's sharp and square. There's no lead in or nothing like that. You might have to put your spectacles back on.
On so I can see, so I can.
You old man.
Question.
Well,
there
should be a little bit of lead in.
Actually, there's a slight chamfer on both sides.
Mm-hmm. That way you could put it in either way. That's the whole purpose behind that.
Yeah.
To help that case lead in. But remember, you want to take and probably chamfer it before you put that in the sizing die. Why? Because this way it helps with leading the case into the next sizing bushing.
Okay.
It would help, of course, to take a crazy factory crimp off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jason, let me ask you this. How did you determine the case neck wall thickness?
With the
what
tubing
did you actually
mic.
use? Oh, with a tubing mic. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. You showed us one last time, or somebody did. Somebody showed us a tubing mic.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I actually lost my tubing mic for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I bought one and then it disappeared. And then it magically reappeared on top of my bench one day when I wasn't looking for it. So I don't know if that was me looking too hard or my
Does
wife
anyone
realized,
else?
Oops.
Yeah. Does anyone else in the Trumbo family reload?
No.
Exactly. It's like, so who would take Dad's tools?
But if I left it on the kitchen table, my wife has a reputation of putting things away, and we don't know where they go. I don't know if I left it on the table or not. I'm just saying that's an option.
That's a possibility. My wife is the same way when it comes to her dining table.
Yep.
It's her dining table, even though I get to eat at it.
Yep.
That's why I'm going to be getting my own reloading room, and that's my domain. I sweep the floors in that particular place.
There you go.
Sometimes I like sitting at the kitchen table and doing some brass prep.
And I'm sure Kathy has a thing or seven to say about those brass trimmings.
Well, I wipe them off eventually.
Eventually. When you start chewing on them in your fried potatoes.
Yep, exactly.
What are you shaking? What are you trying to do? Knock a ball out of the case?
Knocking the bushing back out of the die because Tony, the pain in my butt, wanted to know what size the bushing was. And
it's probably written on there somewhere.
We have one more person that's said here in present in the chat room, and that's Hun 73R80. So,
well, hello, Hun. Tony, this is a 291. Don't ask me any more questions. I'm going to put it back together, and I'm done taking it apart now.
Well, if you stop and think about it, folks, 264 add 30 is 294. That's the bullet diameter, 15 thousandths case neck thickness each side of the bullet. Well, then you got to subtract one for bullet pull for neck tension, so that'd be 293. So Jason's is actually a little small. So that means Jason probably intends to take and thin his brass down a little bit. Down to what? 14 thousandths, Jason? Is that what you figured?
14 thousandths is what I came up with. Yeah.
Okay.
And if my math is correct, that gave me 1,000th neck tension.
Thank you, sir. Well done, I must say.
Well, thanks. That means very little coming from you.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah, you're number one again, Jason.
Yeah, all right. And the horse I rode in on.
Perhaps next time, Jason, he could give you some of this to help.
Yep, that would definitely help.
Yeah, that might help you a little bit, Jason. Right there.
Yeah. Get that can of Imperial Sizing wax out, Jason. We'll go show you what it's really used for.
Well, he was in the service, so he's well acquainted with.
Oh, stop!
Oh, no, nah, knock it off, Mike.
Here we go.
That's what happens when you pick on us veterans.
No,
we stick together and we fight back.
Him and I are buddies now.
Now, see, unaware with it, and I'm not going there with it. I'm saying everybody who serves gets shafted. So that.
I can't argue with you there.
You notice I shut up too.
Yep.
Jason and I do think a lot alike. So be very careful.
Oh, I know. But yeah.
Anyway.
All right, folks. On that note, we're gonna wrap things up. So, if you're a listener brought it to my attention that the Brownells affiliate link is no longer on the Reloading Podcast webpage. Actually, what it is strictly on the homepage. So firearmsradio.net or not TV. Sorry, firearmsradio.tv. There's the Brownells link. It is not on the /reloading podcast page. So the Amazon link still is, but the Brownells isn't. So if you're shopping Brownells or you're shopping Amazon, swing by the firearmsradio.tv page and hit up the affiliate links. If you want to take the extra steps to pop over to the Reloading Podcast page on there and hit the Amazon link for just the Reloading Podcast, it'd be cool. You don't have to, though. So helps the network out. So another best way you can help out the show is send us letters, comments, questions, concerns. Give us crap. Join us on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Central when we record this show live via YouTube for now. Not going there. We are the only thing I will say is we were working on a alternative location if needed. And when we get that nailed down, we'll come back with that. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that. Yeah, so send us emails to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us texts to 608-467-0308. You can also call that number from your telephone, whether it be or landline if you still have them. Or I suppose you could have a satellite phone if you're highfalutin. So if you want to call from satellite phone too, that works. You can call us and leave us voicemail. So, all those different options. If you want to give us crap, swing by the Reloading Podcast page. And you can find our contact info there. Or firearmsradio.tv/reloading-podcast. And down at the bottom of the show notes for each show, we have all of the contact information for us. We have links to our Facebook, our Google Plus page, which I don't think I've actually been on other than posting the podcast launch. So every time I post the video, the notification, it automatically posts to Google Plus. So anyway, you can find us on Facebook quite a bit, either in the Reloading Podcast group or the Reloading Room. If you have questions you want answered on the show, post them either on the Facebook page for the Reloading Podcast or join the Reloading Podcast group. What's the difference? Simple. The page is public. Everybody can see everything on it. The group, however, is not. Yes, you can see who's in the group, but you cannot see what's been posted until you join. And to join, we have questions you have to answer. If you do not answer those questions, we will not let you join. It's that simple. There's 3 people tonight that have been sitting there for a week. I gave them a week to answer the questions. They did not answer the questions. I declined their application. So it's kind of a way to filter out trolls and, well, not necessarily trolls, but bots and stuff like that. So make sure we do it that way. If you have a question that you need to know the answer to, and yes, there is no stupid questions in reloading, because if you do stupid things in reloading, you can get dead. It's that simple. Go to the reloading room on Facebook. It is 7 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old.
7.
And there is probably, I would say probably in the neighborhood of 750,000 to 1 million posts in there. Use the search feature and search for your topic. It's probably been asked already, and it's probably gotten troll-free answers. But if it hasn't, then join up and ask. You do not have to join the reloading room to read what's posted. It's a public page. So you can search and you can read what's been posted and what's been asked without having to join. But that is the best source on the internet right now, at least Facebook, and the easiest source right now to find answers. You can go to there's a whole bunch of different forums and stuff out there. To be honest, some of them are kind of a pain to try and find answers for. So, but yeah. So that's kind of all we got for tonight. And since the Slackers aren't here, I guess we'll say their lines for them. Oh, wait a minute. I'm forgetting a very, very important group of people.
Yep.
The Patreons.
Amen.
So we have a group of individuals that have decided that they would love to send some of their extra income to us. And then what we do is we buy stuff like this and we use it for demonstrations, and then we turn around and give it away. So also, if you are part of that group, depending on what level you give, you could also get the Patriot Patch of the month, or a $25 gift card to Patriot Patch Company every month. So we have a few different levels. You can find out more about that if you go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge-reloading-podcast. We just greatly appreciate everybody that has the ability to give us some extra money. It's just awesome. One of the things we're going to do is we're getting a Dillon 650 at some point in time, probably over the summer. And then we will be doing demonstrations with that on how to set it up and how to get it running and all sorts of fun like that. And then we're going to give it away to everyone that's in the Patreon group. So, well, not everyone, but one person's going to win. Everyone who's in the Patreon group is going to be eligible. So, just wanted to share that. So, kind of one of the cool things. And on that note, even though Canuck's not here, and I love doing it when he's not here, because then when he listens to the podcast, he screws up his own line. But he hates brass. So I always say it before, keep your brass shiny.
Keep your powder dry.
Aim small, miss small. And squeeze. Don't yank that trigger, guys.
Squeeze it.
Thanks, folks.
If you squeeze it more than 3 times, you're playing with it.